Hi, how's it going? This is Resin of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another video for you guys and gals. This is my Halloween video. You know, David Gordon Green's Halloween Trilogy has come and gone. The one thing I will always do on here is speak for myself. I never, ever try to speak for other people. I just don't. That's not who I am as a person. That being said, I want to make this real clear. Do I feel, in my opinion, that David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy is different? No, I don't. Now, there are people who like this trilogy because they feel it's different. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're not. That's their point of view. Here's where my issue lies with fans. Fans have tend to turn around, told bold-faced lies. This is what I hear people tweet and see, and I just shake my head like, I never heard anybody even say this. Well, people are saying people aren't connecting the last Halloween movie, Halloween Ends, to the other two. Well, yeah, they are. A lot of people are. And if you're watching someone on YouTube say that they shouldn't, that's their opinion. Okay? Now, again, I only watch, let's see, one, two, three. I watch three horror channels total. Okay? Um, Now, well, you could consider them horror channels, I guess. Um, Killenberg, Myers fan, and At Everyday Horror. Those are the three I watch. Okay. Now, I've never heard any of them say that. All right. That's what I'll say. Again, I'm not trying to speak for other people. I'm just saying what I've never heard them say that. Okay. Now, when I get into this Halloween trilogy, why do I say it wasn't that different? I'm going to take you to the most different Halloween movie of all time, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Okay? That movie was different. That movie did not have Michael Myers. That movie did not have Laurie Strode. It didn't have a, a Dr. Sam Loomis. It didn't have a Sheriff Brackett. It was a completely new and different plot surrounding completely new and different characters. This movie takes place in an alternate reality from the first two Halloween movies. You couldn't get any more different than this. And it was beautiful to watch. Okay? That is different. That is revolutionary. Now, when I say David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy isn't different enough, what I mean by that is think of what this trilogy was or was meant to be. This trilogy is telling you we're not the sister connection. Now, I want to be real clear, they're not. But here's my issue. If your plot concept go is to we don't want to be the sister connection. My first I heard this in 2016. They were retconning the entire franchise to go off the first movie because they didn't want to do the sister connection. Okay. I said, okay. I heard they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm thinking, okay. So you're still keeping Laurie Strode. Okay, that makes sense. You need the star power. I felt that was a bit much because, okay, why not just, if you're going to go 40 years, why not just surround it with new characters and build them up? Especially if you're just doing if you're doing more than one movie. Because going in, you got to understand, I didn't think they were just doing one movie. There's no way in hell they were just doing one movie. Um, They brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, they had their star power to play Laurie Strode. They were saying that 40 this movie was going to take place 40 years after the original Halloween, the first one. All right. Here's where my first strike happened right here. They announced, like I think a week later, Laurie Strode was going to have a daughter and granddaughter. Why? Think of what the original series was. What everybody bitches about is the sister connection, right? So it's just the fact that they removed the word sister. Here's where my issue lies. To me, when you give Laurie Strode a family in this new Halloween trilogy, you're playing it too close to the vest. To me, that is not enough of a separation for me. Because depending on how you write a story around that, you still have to include her family within the grain of the story. And they did. But not only did they do that, they took her daughter and had her be told about Michael Myers and then be trained how to deal with Michael Myers. Excuse me. Now, is this character similar to another Halloween character? A bit. It's similar to John Tate more so than it is Jamie Lloyd. Now, Jamie Lloyd was a girl, a little girl, but Jamie Lloyd also got killed off. Also, Jamie Lloyd was not trained by Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode was written off as an off-screen kill, though we never saw it. Now, here's here's where my issue is too with the whole John Tate thing. John Tate was told about Michael Myers for 20 years. Karen was told about Michael Myers for, I don't know, she was a teenage, she was still a little girl getting trained by her mother. Um, I want to say probably 11 or 12 she was probably taken away from Lori. Um, someone called child services, whatever, children and youth on Lori Strode. Um, which is just weird. It's it's like really. Um, Now that so you are training your daughter to deal with Michael Myers. Again, this trilogy is not supposed to be the sister connection. You're not only giving Laurie Strode a family, you're now taking it to the next level of she's training her daughter how to deal with evil in the world, take care, dealing with Michael Myers. This isn't just her teaching her how to take care of herself. Yeah, there's that, but she's taking it way far beyond even that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would you even give Lori a family? If you There's no sense in her having the family. This isn't the sister connection. This trilogy to me was a half-ass attempt to make it the Strodes versus A. Myers being Michael Myers. And even by the end of the third movie, that's what it ended up being. Allison and Lori killing Michael. And to me, it's just like, why? For what? The third movie hardly has Michael in it. And to me, you just should have had Corey Cunningham kill Michael Myers, not Laurie Strode. Laurie wasn't. I'm going to get back to this point. Laurie moved on in the third movie. She moved on from Michael, which made no fucking sense. Okay? Think of what 2018 is. Laurie Strode, 40 years later, cannot move on from the death of her friends, Annie, Bob, and Linda, 40 years ago. She wants to, that, and the fact that Michael came after her too and stalked her. She We can gather from this movie 2018, and this is where we'll give David Gordon Green and Danny McBride their roses a bit. We can gather from this movie that Laurie Strode wonders why her? Why her, friends? Why did he come after us? That is my favorite part of this whole trilogy, because it was the best thing they had going, and they pissed that away real easily. Um, they just did, for a bunch of fan service and shit. Here's the thing: you do not have to fan service me for me to watch your movie. You just have to tell me a really, really good, compelling story with horror and scare the shit out of me, and make me terrified that something's going to happen to your characters. That shouldn't be hard when you have a killer like Michael Myers, but it was. Again, back to my issues with this. Karen is a little too much like John. Now, is Allison like anybody? No, I would say Allison's more her own character. She's more of a character who feels in the middle of her mother and Lori, which that I like, you know. Now, though I like that aspect, I still don't feel Laurie Strode should have had a family. You could still have a character called Allison and Karen in this movie and make them a part of the movie. Again, does Allison have to be related to Laurie Strode to be in this movie? No, she doesn't. Make Allison her own character. You're already halfway there. You've made the character, not really. She's not trying. She might be in the middle of her mother, but she's not trying to necessarily interfere between her mother and grandmother. She's not trying to get in between them on purpose. She's not like, oh no, she doesn't want them to fight, but she does ask her grandmother, well, why can't you just let Michael Myers, go? But she does want her grandmother in her life. She made that clear to her mother at the house. Um, Again, I like that aspect, but I don't feel you need this character related to Lori to make her mad. Or what could they have done? Real simple. She's in high school, right? Why not have her do a senior project on the babysitter murders? She does the research. She's somebody who does research on the events that happened, not just 40 years ago, but the events that happened in 1963, the death of Judith Margaret Myers. And the one thing that connects those cases, the only thing that really connects those cases, is the killer, is Michael. He's the one who did all the murdering. That's it. That did happen on Halloween night. So two things connect the case, and people are going to say, well, there's the third, the babysitting. So three things connect the case, but there's no real motive behind the actual murders. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to them. And that's something that you could have had Allison say. You could have also had Allison be the one who talks to Laurie Strode instead of some podcasters. Maybe Michael just escapes by himself. Maybe, I don't feel you need podcasters to go into the whole, the sanitarium thing. I feel they should have had Allison be the one interviewing Laurie Strode, and Laurie agrees to interview her. Laurie agrees to the interview, but doesn't try to take money from her. She talks to her about it, and she goes, "Can you tell me about that day 40 years ago?" And she goes, "I was just walking to school. My dad had asked me to drop keys off at the Myers house, and I did that." And you sort of hear what happened to her. Like, we know the story, but Allison doesn't. Allison doesn't know it from Lori's first-hand account. Allison is getting that first-hand account. She gets it. And Allison, to her senior project, adds this, that in 1963, a town was forever changed by the murder of a girl named Judith Margaret Myers. It was changed because she was murdered by her brother, a 6-year-old boy named Michael Audrey Myers. No one knew why Michael did this, but he did it. He murdered his sister, who happened to be babysitting him on Halloween night. 15 years later, Michael escaped a minimum security sanitarium. His doctor, Dr. Sam Loomis, was coming to help transport him, but he had already escaped. He had stole he had stolen Loomis's car in the process and left. You also hear from Allison that, again, she would have gotten this from Nurse Whittington, American Whittington. You would also have heard from Allison that there seems to be no rhyme or reason to Michael's killings. But for whatever reason, he seems to, whether it's on purpose, by design, or some sort of sick, twisted fate, he seems to go after babysitters on Halloween night, which is odd, to her. She doesn't, again, she's asking, she's not indicating. And I think that's how you could have made that character interesting. She's fascinated by these sort of turn of events that seem to have just happened for no reason. You know, again, it's something they don't do, but they could have done. Instead, they make out Allison related to Lori. They make Karen related to Lori. Again, I don't get the sense of giving Lori a family when this isn't the sister connection. And here's the thing, Andy Matichak's character, Allison, says, "Oh, them being related, that was just some rumor somebody made up." Great. You got that line out. That's a great line. But my big issue is, in the same movie, you have Laurie Strode say, "I've waited for him and he's waited for me." Now, the first part I agree with. You have waited for him. You've waited for him to get out. But he hasn't waited for you. You're not his sister. What the hell's he waiting for you for? Michael doesn't. To me, Michael doesn't do revenge. Um, I just don't understand this. I don't get the line. Like, what's the sense? Now I'm gonna get into this, that they could have been. I've explained how they could have been different in 2018. All right, and yeah, you could have had Michael stalk Allison. The problem is they didn't do that at all in their own movie. Um, Now to Corey Cunningham, and I guess will be my final thoughts. First of all, and I've said this in my review, Rohan Campbell did a great job. I mean, they gave him the ball more than they did Andy Matichak, and I don't understand why. I feel, again, they did a good job of getting a male character over, but Rohan Campbell did a good job too. Take nothing away from him. My biggest issue is that they sort of half-assed gave up on their own sort of idea character. Okay, it's fine to make this guy a killer. I'm all good for that. My problem isn't that you're wanting to make him a killer. My problem becomes, okay, when Michael touches him and unleashes his evil, makes no sense. And here's why it makes no sense, because you did not make a concerted effort to do that any film in any of your other films here. Had you, then okay. You didn't do that. I feel when Corey Cunningham, Rohan Campbell's character, went over the bridge, I feel he should have got up then and just started killing the band members. Had he done that, you don't need Michael. Again, think of what Halloween Ends is. And what I mean by that is, okay, Halloween Ends, when they first start opening, yeah, they're talking about, because it's 2019. It's only been a year since Halloween 2018 and Kills happened. That the same night event happened. So Michael is still fresh on everybody's mind. That's one thing. But then the incident with the kid happens with Rohan Campbell's character. He accidentally knocked him over the banister. It's like he didn't kill him on purpose. It was an accidental death. It's like I couldn't hate the guy. Like no matter what you did there, I couldn't hate him. Um, Now had they had him stab him maliciously, that would have been interesting. But they didn't do that. Michael doesn't carry a gun, so whoever shot somebody. Again, that's another thing I've noticed with Halloween Ends, that Rohan Campbell isn't the only person who's committed it. If you want to say what Rohan Campbell did was heinous, well, Rohan Campbell wasn't the only one doing it, something heinous. Now is he? No. It sort of gets into the old adage: "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." But I more look at it like, if Rohan Campbell's character is supposed to be a special kind of killer or a special kind of psychotic killer, whatever you're trying to make him here, you don't want to over convolute it and have other people killing, because it just takes away from that character. Now, where I'll give credit is, this is where I say Rohan Campbell did a great job, is that his arrest was so, they shot it so powerfully, you sort of forgot about the other murders that had just happened. That I will give credit to Rohan Campbell, because he did a hell of a job, and so did the director in focusing on his arrest. Um, Laurie Strode seems the kid got a bad rap. Um, it's sort of mixed. Some people, hey, he's not a bad dude, and some people are like, no, especially the parents, oh, he killed our kid. Um, but it was sort of, to me, it's like it's an accidental. It would have been more interesting too, had they not shown exactly what happened to this kid. You get me? Like, to me, that would have been more compelling. You just see somebody over a body and they're dead. You don't know exactly what happened. And he's covered in, like, if they would have walked into the house, Rohan Campbell's character is holding the child and he's covered in the child's blood. That would have been a hell of a scene. That's something you could have said, well, he, of course he murdered the kid, you know? You could have did it better that way than how you did do it. Because the whole step thing, showing the audience, to me, that he accidentally killed the kid, it's like, you're not really leaving me any real suspense here either. That's my other issue with Ends. Ends has a lack of suspense in the beginning, to how, when you just show me you're going to kill a kid. You don't have to show me how the kid dies. You know, give me leave it to my imagination. Hey, how did he really die? We don't know. That's how we should have showed up, not with Corey Cunningham babysitting this kid. Corey Cunningham is holding the kid in his arms and he's covered in the kid's blood. That'd have been a way better scenario than what they did do. Um, I feel again. Do I feel there was enough to make Rohan Campbell his own killer? Yeah, they were on the right track until they had Michael touch him. I feel right there. You're just to me. It more felt like they did that not. It more felt like they did that to get Michael involved in the story. And that's sort of my overall issue with Ends too. It's like, really, there's no point for Michael to be in this story other than you're trying to force him in by having him grab this kid. It's like, okay, he's been gone how many years? Like 2019 was the last time you can say Michael Myers struck before the events of Ends. it's it's like, okay, because remember, there was somebody stabbed and there was somebody shot, and Hawkins, who's a detective, says that Michael doesn't carry a gun, which I like. That I like how they got, okay, he didn't kill this guy, but that guy they're over there, yeah, he definitely killed him. um Process of elimination. So again, we know there are three deaths in the night of 2018. Michael causes one, somebody shoots somebody, causing another, and then Rohan Campbell's character, Corey Cunningham, accidentally kills a kid by knocking him over a staircase. Again, I just found this scene unbelievably just. Again, I could not believe it. Like, it's like, that's just so preposterous, bro. You could have done it again. They could have did a better job. You don't have to show me how the kid dies. Just show me Rohan Campbell's character holding the kid, like, oh my god, he's dead, he's dead, and there's blood all over Rohan Campbell's clothes. Who you gonna arrest? You're gonna arrest the guy who's holding the bloody body. So you're gonna arrest? That would have been suspenseful. Again, though, I do think they were on the right path of making Rohan Campbell's character turn evil. I don't feel you needed Michael Myers to do it, because you could have just had Rohan Campbell's character get up off the ground and start murdering people. And again, you might say, well, isn't his motive revenge if he's just. Newsflash, his motive is revenge, whether Michael touches him or not. Michael touching Corey Cunningham is somewhat of an interesting point, because though you could say Michael unlocked his evil, bro, he could have just did again. That's sort of my frustration. He could have just did this all by himself. Bro, Rohan Campbell's character isn't stupid. He knows how to use a knife. He knows how to cut things. I'm sure stabbing is not that hard of a concept to a human being. And that's another issue too. It's like he takes somebody like, oh, show me how to kill. Basically what he's saying is, show me how to be a killer. Okay, you really, when you yourself, and this is why I say this scene makes no sense, because there was a scene where Corey takes Allison to the house where he was babysitting that boy, and he said, "This is where I murdered somebody. This is where I killed somebody." And I'm thinking, okay, he's finally saying, "I killed this kid." He's sort of feeling sorry for himself, and it's just like, okay, um, so you're admitting that you're a killer now. You admit that you killed somebody because it enough people have agitated him and blamed him. It's gone to his head. But also, Michael has touched this guy. Again, you don't need Michael to touch Corey Cunningham to make him evil. A person can choose to be evil or good. It's their choice. Michael made his choice a long time ago. Um, So my biggest issue with Corey Cunningham isn't the fact that he's a killer or isn't the fact that he's dressing up as like Michael Myers. No. If Corey Cunningham would have dressed up like Michael Myers and, cut off his own two fingers and give himself some, burn marks and try to pass off that, or sorry, not give himself burn marks, or try, yeah, burn marks is the house fire, but try to pass himself off as Michael Myers and done it, beautifully because he was studying Michael's movements, you know, it would have been really interesting to, have this moment where Corey Cunningham himself is lying so much that it just eventually catches up with him. That's something they could have did, but they didn't do. My biggest point here, my biggest takeaway is if somebody tells you that Joel Sands doesn't like the Halloween trilogy because it's too different, then they're just telling a bald-faced lie. I don't like the Halloween trilogy because it doesn't offer. It doesn't. To me, this made no sense to do. It's a movie that still makes no, from a casting direction, makes no sense. Um, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Um, take care. Again, hope you had a Merry Christmas and take care.